Fischer of the Idaho Values Alliance. And we're mainly going to be talking about the Ten Commandments monument today. But as I was preparing for the interview, we learned of the death of former Congresswoman Helen Chenoweth-Hage. Could you provide just your thoughts on her life and her legacy?
Well, it's a real loss to the pro-family movement and to the conservative movement. Helen was very kind to me personally and to the Idaho Values Alliance. She wrote a very generous letter when we were just starting the Idaho Values Alliance, getting her endorsement to this new organization and to the work that we were trying to do. So I will always have gratitude to her for that. And the thing that I admired the most about Helen is that she had convictions on public policy issues that had to do with the family, had to do with justice and righteousness, and she was unapologetic about pursuing those values in public office, never backed down, never backed away, and just admired her a lot for the courage of her convictions.
Now, under the Ten Commandments monument, I'm going to ask some questions that readers of my blog are going to know where I stand, but you articulated these so well, so I'm just going to give you the opportunity to answer. Why does it matter that if we put a monument back in Julia Davis Park?
Well, the key issue here is whether Boise is going to be a city that publicly honors and acknowledges God in a public square. We all know that you can have a Ten Commandments monument that honors God on private property. But our founding fathers believed that there is a creator, that creator gave us certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and property in the pursuit of happiness, and that it was an important part of our public life to continually acknowledge God, to acknowledge His presence, to acknowledge His sovereignty, and to recognize that He is the source of our rights. And what the Ten Commandments remind us is that not only is God the source of our rights, He is also the source of responsibility to each other.
As we know, this all began with Fred Phelps trying to get the city to bring in a monument that says Matthew Shepard is in hell. What assurances can you give to the people of Boise that if the monument is put back in the park, that the Phelps monument won't be placed in there as well?
Well, I can assure the citizens of Boise, because I served on the Parks and Rec Department for 5 years as a commissioner. In fact, I was the one that made the motion to deny Reverend Phelps' request for his gate-heating monument, and I will guarantee you that if he resubmits an application for that monument, he will get turned down again. And eventually he'll just go away. His threat of a lawsuit was completely empty threat. He made the same threat to the mayor of Nampa and the mayor of Caldwell. They told Reverend Phelps to take a hike, and they never heard from him again. So he was a man that rattled his saber at the city of Boise, but in the end it turned out he didn't even have a saber to rattle.
Now, how much is it going to cost taxpayers to put the monument back in the park?
It will cost exactly $0. We have arranged for private fundraising. In fact, we took a check down to City Hall just a couple of weeks ago that would cover the cost of building this new display. If it takes more than what we've already raised, we are thinking about a little brick plaza in front of the display. We could sell commemorative bricks. People could have their name identified with this new display for decades, to bring their children and their children's children by to take a look at their commemorative brick and be identified with this, as long as Boise's around. And we think people would consider that an honor. And so we think we'll have no trouble raising the funds from private donations that would be necessary to build and install this new display.
Now, is the proposed monument constitutional?
Absolutely. In fact, we designed this display because to make it identical to a display that already sits outside the Bannock County Courthouse in Pocatello, and that display was challenged by the ACLU in 1994, and a federal judge declared that it was constitutional in 1995. Well, the Constitution hasn't changed in the last 11 years. So if it was constitutional in 1995, it'll be constitutional on November 7, 2006.
And now, have only Christians been supportive of the effort to bring back the monument?
Well, as a matter of fact, one of the men that was a primary boost to our efforts in the early going is a conservative Jew. He heads up the Idaho chapter of Toward Tradition, which is a conservative Jewish organization. We have had Muslims tell us that they believe in the concepts of the Ten Commandments. They regard Moses as a prophet. They regard the words of the Ten Commandments as inspired by God, just as Christians do, just as Jews do. We had agnostics that helped us gather signatures because they recognize the contribution that these principles make to society. It's just easy to imagine what life would be like if everybody lived by these standards. Everyone would worship God according to the dictates of their own conscience. You wouldn't have to worry about profanity on TV or in the movies or at the neighborhood tavern. You'd have parents that would be honoring, or children would be honoring their parents. Parents would be loving their children. Husbands would be faithful to their wives. Nobody would steal from each other. Everybody would tell the truth. I mean, who would not want to live in a culture that was governed by those principles? And so everyone across the faith spectrum recognizes that.
Now, finally, you've been around the city for quite some years. You were pastor, assistant pastor, served on the Parks and Recs Board, and this issue has created quite a bit of controversy. How do you see, regardless of the results, citizens of Boise coming together after the election?
Well, one of the beautiful things about the American system of government is that we accept the results of elections. Now, we've had people that have been elected to the highest office in this land that I did not vote for, that I had very little regard for, but I still refer to those individuals as President of the United States. And so one of the things that brings us together is when we accept that this is how we make major decisions on how we govern our public life. So we can close ranks on November 8th and accept the results of that, and then consider this issue settled and move forward together. Perfectly possible. If we should happen to lose on November 7th, we are prepared to accept the will of the people and abide by that. And all we are doing is asking the citizens of Boise and the leadership of Boise to respect the democratic process and to do the same thing, abide by the will of the people.
Thank you. Bryan Fischer, Idaho Values Alliance, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome, Adam. Thank you. Pleasure to talk with you.